Hey beautiful, welcome to module 1.9. So in this module, going to go over the number one key factor to make sure you get what you really want. Yeah? So remember that in module 1.4, we did that, getting what you want in a partner, right? So the 10 key points that you want in a soulmate partner. This is the number one key factor to make sure you get that. Yeah? So with your top 10 that you wrote down, okay, module 1.4, are you living that? Yeah, those 10 key things, are you living and breathing those things that you want? It might sound like a silly question. However, if you are not what you are asking for, how can the universe bring you that? So if you're wanting a stable, successful, caring partner or a loving partner, just someone loving, are you that? Are you that in your general, life? And you might think, oh, well, I am a loving person and I am, that. But I struggle to get that in relationship. So it's important now then to look at what areas of life you need to tend to, yeah? So with that check-in Tuesday, yeah, it kind of gives you some areas of life, that you can check in. There's also this here as well. So they're very similar, but I put them in there anyway. The spider web. So looking at your relationships. So looking at all your relationships, right? If you've got a spider web of people around you, so mum, dad, family, oh yeah, well, I'm loving to them, right? Okay. Double check that. So are you really loving to them, or you've got judgments about them and you bitch about them behind their back? Yeah? Check that out. This is a big self-reflection time, right? So if we want a loving partner, but to our own family, we kind of bitch about them behind each other's back. Where are you not at peace in those threads of relationships? Yeah, oh, that irks me about them, that irks me about them, right? So when you've got an intimate partner in front of you, oh, that irks me about them, and they're just focusing on that. So if you've got those threads of like, that person and that person, doesn't have to be family, it could be friends, could be work colleagues, could be anything like that. So I'm working with the loving thing because a lot of people want a loving partner. But if we've got those threads running in any area of our life, that is going to affect our intimate relationship. So it's about clearing up the threads of the people around us. And if we're not feeling loving towards them, oh yeah, I love them. They're my family, of course. But then you're going like, such and such is doing this. Well, that pisses me off or whatever, right? You might not even be conscious that you do that. And it's just starting to become conscious and aware that you do that. And it's like, oh, okay. Because those bits of judgment are not only keeping those people stuck, because that's your perception of them, so that keeps them limited, right? But that energy is kind of a glasses that you wear for the rest of your relationships. Yeah, and we'll go through this as we move through module 1 and help remove past glasses. But this is your starting point, that if you want those 10 things, or however many you got through in module 1.4, in a partner, but if you're not being that person, then what are you emitting to the universe, right? So if you want those 10 things in a partner, and you're saying, universe, this is what I want in a partner, it's like, what are you emitting? Yeah, what frequency, what vibration are you putting off to the universe? Well, I want this in a partner, but if you're not that, well, then you're coming from an empty space and you want the universe to fill it. And the universe will fill it, but not necessarily with what you want. Why? Because you're coming from an empty or a lack of vibration and you're wanting, well, I want that, universe. So you want to kind of fill that up. But what you need to be doing is coming from the inside out of a fullness, yeah? And this is exactly what we're working through in the entire Calling Into Soulmate course, is about becoming what you want so that you raise your vibrations so that you are, full is a way to describe it. So you're full and emitting that frequency of love, of happiness, of stability, of joy, of whatever you want, whatever you've written down in your 10 points, that you are emitting that you become that. You are your soulmate. You become that person, right? Because if you are not, and you're coming from, well, I want that in a person, and you're constantly trying to fill that hole, the universe gives you what you're vibrating. The universe gives you what you are vibrating, not what you think. Yes, thinking creates feelings, yeah, but we want to come from a fullness, like, you know, become your own soulmate, become your own best friend, become your own knight in shining armor, okay? This is the key to getting what you really want, yeah? Because you'll find, right? You've always heard the saying that when you let go, when you gave up, that's when it happened, right? And it's exactly the same. Why is that? Yeah, because if you work through, and this is what we're doing, like I said, in the entire Calling Your Soulmate class, those 10 things, right? Just using those 10 things as an example. When you start taking responsibility to create those 10 things and be that person yourself, right? The loving partner, like I said, you need to start assessing all of your relationships in your entire life, right? Because then when you're full, well, then it's kind of like the longingness for that changes. It's like, oh, well, I am that. So then what happens? You let go. But because you're full, you're not trying to fill it up with something outside of yourself because you've become that. So then what happens? You're vibrating at a different level, and then you're going to attract on that frequency. Does that make sense? So it's about taking responsibility for those 10 key factors of what you want in a person, in a relationship, in a soulmate partner. Those 10 things are what you need to become. Okay? So when you kind of hear that, you might be like, oh, what's the point then? I just want somebody to fix me. I want somebody to fill me. I want somebody to do it yourself. I want somebody to do it for me. Well, that's a different mentality that we need to shift, and we get to that as well. Yeah, coming from a victim space, not from a taking responsibility place. I'll tell you one thing, right? Because what's attractive to a partner is someone who's got their shit together, who's someone who's got goals and is, you know, doing their life. If you kind of just put it into perspective for a minute, it's kind of like if you look at a partner, and it might be different for you, I'm not sure, let me know. But generally, we look at somebody and they've got their life happening and they're, you know, successful, and they're like, oh my God, this is attractive. Well, we think of it, I guess, you know, this is a bit judgmental, but just giving you a perspective, right? Or a homeless person, you're like, ugh. That, you know, or somebody who's struggling and, you know, upset all the time, or, you know, like it's kind of like, ugh. There might be a part of you that wants to help them, of course. But if we're looking at an intimate relationship partner and what we're attracting and what we want in our partner in our life, that kind of picture of successful and got their shit together is more attractive, right? Is it not? So, for you to have your shit together, for you to be taking charge of your life, for you to be full is attractive to people. Yeah? Now, in saying that, it's not about perfection. It's not about waiting until you've got your shit together either, okay? So, you know, in saying, you know, what I just said and, you know, getting your 10 things on your list and making you that person, yeah, instead of wanting that in somebody else, it's about going, okay, well, yeah, I do want that in somebody else, but I now understand I need to become that, so I'm emitting that frequency and a full frequency rather than, oh, come and do that for me sort of thing, yeah? And like I said, it's not about, oh, well, I've got these 10 things on this list and I need to be that before I can get in a relationship. I need to have my shit together before I can get into a relationship. It's not that either, okay? It's about focusing on you. So if that means that for a certain period of time in your life, you need to sort your life out, then you need to trust what's coming from within about that too, right? So you might say to yourself, okay, for the next 4 months, I'm not going to be in a relationship. So you might say for the next 4 months, I'm not going to be in a relationship. I'm going to be in the relationship for me, and whoever comes in that point in time, I'm not doing that. But after 4 months, well then then I'll look at dating again, right? You might have that sort of a boundary with yourself, and that's really healthy sort of thing to do. If you've never done that in your life, it's important just to kind of go, okay, cool, for the next 4 months I'm focusing on me, rather than going, okay, where's someone I can meet or dating, right? And you might not have that feeling, and that's fine. You need to trust yourself on that. It's easy to get lost in a relationship, but you don't get lost if you stay connected to you. And a healthy relationship can start off healthy, go unhealthy, and with two willing people, it can get healthy again. So the most important thing is about staying connected to you, which is also what we cover in the Calling in Your Soulmate course. So, like I said, don't think that, oh, I don't have my shit together and I'm not that 10 people thing yet, okay? Don't be so black and white. Don't be like, oh, it's got to be this way, it's got to be that way. I want you to stay open, but I want you to stay focused. Yeah, if somebody comes into your life and it feels right for you, you need to trust that, okay? But you also need to be conscious that you're working through this course, and that if somebody does come into your life and you are still working on the 10 things in your list, then you need to be conscious of what's being reflected to you, right? And we'll go through in the later modules about red flags and that sort of thing. But don't get stuck on it has to be perfect, okay? Because nothing is perfect. It's about being accepting and loving in the imperfections, but also being clear on your values, your boundaries, your bottom lines, your value, like what is important to you in your life, and being mindful of all those things in the mix as well, okay? Hey beautiful, I hope that gave you a bit of insight to what you can expect in Calling in Your Soulmate. Remember, it's what we're coming and vibrating from the inside out that we attract in our lives, and working through Calling in Your Soulmate clears out all that stuff that we don't want to keep attracting, so that we can really manifest what we really want in our lives. So the link is below. Click on that for all the details, or come and find me and send me a message. Remember, keep it really real. Looking forward to seeing you there. Namaste.